Hello, Bumpy here with another installment of my F2PP, or the free-to-play Phenoms. And one of the really cool things about this series is if you like the game, it looks cool to you, you want to check it out, you always can do that because these games are free to play. So that's a bonus, that's a perk, that's what I'm bringing to you guys right now. So, what is Warframe, you might ask? Well, if you ever wanted to be a cybernetic, gun-toting ninja with crazy acrobatic skills, all sorts of other weapons that you have available to you, and possibly some sort of android. I'm not sure what the Tenno are. That is what you are. You are a Tenno. And you are some sort of ancient race of, I don't know, blade and gun warrior. So, that's what you are. This is what you look like. And the Warframes are like the suits that you wear, and they give you special powers and abilities. I am equipped with a Vault right now. We'll switch over to the Rhino. And you see I look a little bit different. I have a different set of skills and abilities, and there are several different weapons that you can have. Right now my primary weapon is a bow and arrow, and it may seem silly, but I also picked up this recently, and it's like a Gatling gun machine gun. It's a pretty cool weapon. I think I only have one pistol, and it's one that I particularly enjoy. No, I have two. And there you go, you can see my other pistol there on my hip. It's pretty cool. And then my sword, of course. If we take a look at that, there's no way to really zoom out. I'm going to switch back because unfortunately the Rhino's cool, but he's ginormous. So we have the Gram as my weapon of choice here, guys. So you kind of have the basic rundown of what's going on, and these are all available to either find or buy. The game is quite fun, and you can play it without spending a single penny the entire way through, or you can do microtransactions. Now, normally microtransactions to me are not the greatest thing to have in a game, but again, it's a free-to-play game. How are they going to make money if they don't have some way of charging you for something? Now, most of what you see, possibly all, you can actually unlock just by going through and doing things. So, what do you do? Well, that's a very good question. So we're going to go and do a level 1 exterminate mission just to show off the game a little bit here. Alright, so we're going to hop right into it. Okay. Oh. She decided to interrupt me. Okay, so here we are. We're in the first mission that we're going to go through, and I am doing the single player. This game is a cooperative up to 4-player game online, so that's always cool. You can play with strangers. It's easy enough to queue up, or you can play with a few friends. I generally stick to only playing with my friends. I'm not a very social gamer, I guess. I like to know people at least a little bit before I tend to play with them. But you can do stuff solo, and there's quite a bit you can do solo, but in all honesty, this is a multiplayer game, and you really should focus on getting a couple friends, 2 or 3, to play with you, and then you'll be set, and you'll be able to enjoy the game to its fullest, because things get a little difficult when you play simply by yourself. Alright, apparently there's somebody in this room here, so it's a first-person shooter, and yes, my bow and arrow is so powerful that it literally pins the enemies to the wall. It is one of the very cool items that I've picked up over the time that I've played, and I have played this several hours. In fact, it is one of my father's favorite games. Splooch McFlabbybottom is absolutely enamored and in love with this game. Now, I haven't broken stealth mode yet, so my bow and arrow is supposed to keep me in stealth mode, but apparently that guy saw me. Uh-oh. And yes, you have your sword. You can use your sword at any point. You can use your gun. You can switch to your pistol, which I'm going to do right now. And my pistol is a double-shot pistol. It's pretty cool. So essentially it looks like most other FPS games, most other first-person shooters. But there's lots of drops and power-ups that give you more ammo and let you use actual powers. Now apparently we are locked out of the security system. So this is one of the cool little mini-games, which can be hectic if you don't clear the area first. But you have to match up all the lines, and you hack. And you get points, experience, and stuff like that for doing so. Alright, so the location is returning to normal security, which is pretty cool. That's something they've added recently, in fact. It used to be once you were detected, you were always detected and people aggro to you immediately. So you can break open different things, you can shoot them open. Again, all pretty standard stuff. I'm not sure where to go at this point. I'm sure it's pretty obvious and I'm just overlooking it. But if you look in the top right, the top left corner of the game, you'll see the radar, or the mini-map, if you will. and it kind of usually always points you toward your objective, which is a really good thing. The downside being, sometimes there's different levels, and there's usually an arrow showing you where you need to go. So it is pretty good in that regard. And we're just going to kind of breeze through this real quick. Get through the mission, because I don't want to take an extremely long amount of time doing this. If you see on the left as well, below the minimap, I've killed 11 out of 39 enemies. So really being detected is not the worst thing that can happen to you in this particular one. There we go. And it looks like the enemy is on this level, maybe behind this box. No? Oh, it tells me to go this way. Alright. In the top right, you'll see the much improved interface, HUD, I guess, heads-up display of your health, your shield, your pet. I have a pet. It's called a shade. It will cloak me if I get close to an enemy, but they can't be shooting at me first. And as I've told you, I am quite overpowered for this particular area. So if I can get close enough to this guy, you'll watch. Nope, he's not going to shield me because, again, he shot me once. My pet will only attack enemies if they attack me. So if I managed to get close enough to that guy without being attacked, I would have gone invisible. See, like right here, I'm invisible. So they lose sight of me. It allows me to heal my allies, and then excuse me, guys, getting a little tongue-tied there. It implements a you fall down, you die in combat, you go into bleed-out mode. You do get revives. You get 4 each day. So if you mess up in a mission, it's not completely over. But if you mess up several times in a mission, you're probably either going to want to just give it up, or spend those unfortunate continues. Oh, that's another thing. If you fall, like I just did, like a noob, into a hole in the ground, you do not die. In fact, you just roll into it and then respawn wherever you went. So there's little, I don't want to say error, little punishment for falling. And you can jump on things, and like I said, you are a ninja, so you do all sorts of crazy ninjetic moves, doing jump flips off of walls and stuff like that. And you can, of course, run along the walls, as you saw me do a little bit earlier there. But right now, I should probably get rid of these guys shooting at me. It seems like that would probably be a smart move. And you have multiple attacks with your melee weapons. You don't really have multiple attacks with your primary, but you do have a pistol and a primary. And there's shotguns, there's sniper rifles, there's machine guns, there's all sorts of weapons for you. The game is quite fleshed out in that regard. There's quite a few different types of missions. This is an exterminate mission. Technically, I only need to kill just a couple more guys. Totally missed that shot. My mouse, I usually set the sensitivity down a little bit more. So I'm probably going to miss... Well, you know what? That's the beauty of the mouse that I have. I can set it down on the fly. So...
2600 DPI.
There you go. Alright, so again, you're able to reset the alarm. Very cool added feature. And they constantly patch this game and upgrade it, so... Or update it, rather. An upgrade, I suppose. They add new Warframes that you can pick up. New weapons you can find. So, it's constantly being worked on. Now, generally, when an area is red, that means you missed something somewhere. So I must have missed a bad guy in this room. So I'm going to go see if I can figure out where exactly it is that I missed him. And I do hear voices, so he must be directly beneath me. And indeed he is. And there we go. So when the room clears on exterminate missions, it turns from the red color to, or an area, the red color to the gray, so you know you've actually cleared everyone in the room. You generally want to clear everybody as you go along. That way you don't miss somebody and have to backtrack all the way across the map just to kill the final guy. There is a sprint button. You can do cool sliding moves, and you can shoot while you're sliding, which is pretty neat. You can do a roll. And you can even... Oop! I wanted to do a stealth attack there, and I totally messed that up. Which is unfortunate. Now I have you can mod out your weapons, kind of get them to match whatever playstyle you want. So you're not locked into one specific playstyle. Which is a pretty neat feature. Now, if I get close enough, I should trigger my stealth. Nope, doesn't want to trigger my stealth. So, if you do get close enough, well, generally you can stab them in the back. You can do backstab moves, which is a pretty cool way of taking them out. You can run entire missions as just staying in stealth and not being detected. I've yet to do so myself, and here's kind of the wall run. can run along the wall and then jump off. Generally, the jumping launches you. There's explodey barrels, all sorts of stuff that you'd expect and want in an RPG or a first-person shooter RPG type game. You do level up, but the level ups aren't traditional level ups. There's not. You get more slots available to mod your guy out, so you really have a lot of control and customization in the game for what it is that you want to do. So I'm only going to showcase the exterminate mission and then probably do a couple missions with Splooch as I do the, well, the fun stuff at the end where I tell you what I like and what I don't like about the game. There's not a lot to not like about the game, but there are a few things, and it kind of goes with the territory of the free-to-play model, if you will. So, there you go. And it shows you what you gained out of this, the items you picked up, which are used for crafting. There's a crafting system implemented in the game. And like I said, there's just a lot here. I mean, you get bonus, or you get experience, and all my weapons and warframes and everything are maxed at 30. And there you go. There's the mission complete screen, and it shows you how much damage you dealt compared to the other people on your team, as well as how much you have taken, your total kills, your headshots, on and on. It's kind of a rundown, so those of you that like to compete with your friends, you can actually do so. My accuracy was pretty abysmal. I believe your pet is also added into your accuracy. So, there you have it. That's kind of how a mission goes. Okay, well, that's kind of how the mission plays out. So let's take a look at the UI, the main UI you will see between missions, and how you upgrade and modify everything. So you have your profile up here. It shows you how much you need to your next mastery rank. And you unlock different things. You're able to get more trades per day, because you have a certain number of trades you can do each day. Access to the clan dojo, being able to trade in the clan dojo, and there's several things. And there's a wiki site for all this stuff. And it kind of keeps track of how many people you've killed, how much money you've made, how many skill, I don't know what the skill does, how much time you played. As you can see, I played nearly 103 hours. Some of it was sitting around. It is quite a fun game. I played it a long time ago when it first came out, and it was quite a bit buggier. But now it's quite a bit more polished, actually. How many missions I've completed, failed, and quit. And your completion rate, 78%. I've done a lot of missions that were harder solo, and, well, it didn't go so well. And you can see your clan. I'm part of the Mudheads, which is essentially Splooch's clan. The challenges, leaderboards, and all sorts of things. You get unlockables, so, you know, achievements. And you can even go through tutorial videos and stuff of that nature. Alright, this is private. You can set it to solo, where you play only by yourself. Private is invite only or with friends. Or invite only, sorry. Private is with friends. And online is anyone. You can quickly join a match. People can join you. Then you have the arsenal. And that's kind of what I showed you earlier. You can switch your different warframes. You can switch your weapons. Your, what is that thing called? Your sentinel. Or your pet, if you will. And then you have your inventory, which kind of shows you. I have 2 warframes. I have those weapons. All this miscellaneous stuff. You know, sentinel rank, or skins, I'm sorry. Skins. And, of course, my Titan extractor. So, it's kind of a rundown of that. You have gear and then mods. These are how you change, and there's a lot of them, and it's a little weird to do. As you can see, there's a whole lot that you can add to your weapons, to your warframes, and things of that nature. So it gets a little confusing. Then we'll check out the market, because this is, again, it's a free-to-play game. They give you daily rewards where if you want to get the monetary item that they have, which is called platinum, that you pay money for and you get platinum, and then you buy stuff in the game. They do daily rewards where you can get 75% off, 50% off, 25% off your next platinum purchase. So they do give you breaks each time you play. Each time you log in, they give you a daily log-on bonus. So they have their featured page right here. And then they have their Warframes page. And you can click on Warframes, and you can see all the ones that are available. They also have the credits system, which is up here. If you look at the top, you have credits, and then you have the platinum. I've earned some platinum from doing some stuff, and Splooch has actually bought some platinum himself, and he gave me 10 extra. You can trade platinum, and you can trade it for items or whatever. So all Warframes that you want to just straight buy do cost you platinum. But if you take a look at Warframe blueprints, you can actually buy all the blueprints for the Warframes or earn them through missions, and those only cost credits. Then you have to farm the individual pieces, and what I'm talking about with that, we'll take a look here. I am crafting the Banshee. It will be my next Warframe that I have. and I've already crafted all the other places. Not places, pieces, I apologize. I've crafted all the other pieces. So, if you're wondering, we'll go to the Ember, which I've already passed because I'm a noob. Go to the Ember. So, if I wanted to create... Where is it? Oh, I haven't bought it yet. If I bought the Ember blueprint, I would then need to have the Ember chassis, the Ember helmet, and the Ember systems... There, and the Ember systems, in order to craft the Ember, and that takes 3 days, so they are all hour-based, 12 hours for this, 12 hours for that, 12 hours for that. Once you do that, if you have Platinum and you do like to, support the actual game and spend the money doing it, you can do so, and you can even rush certain buildings, which is a pretty cool feature. And I have that available to me, but I'm missing certain pieces that I need for that. Now, this is your crafting, the foundry. This is how you craft different things. As you see, there's a whole bunch of stuff here that I can craft. I farmed myself the rhino, and as you see, I have another rhino I can actually craft. Here's the weapon I'm trying to craft. I've been farming this forever, and I cannot get the final piece. It is quite depressing. Now you have the Orokin reactors and the Orokin catalyst, which give your weapons and your Warframe. The Warframe is the reactor, the weapons are the catalyst. The ability to have double the mods to your level. So if we take a look at the Kraken, we'll take a look at the Kraken right now. We'll go to upgrade. You'll see his max is 30 that he can actually have in the mod section. I have not put a reactor or a catalyst on that one, but if we take a look at my Paris, go to upgrade, I can have a maximum of 60. So, yeah. They have a lot of modification, things you need to farm, things you need to look at. They have all sorts of just fun stuff. You have messages, emails that the game sends you. Shows you that you have victory over certain things and factions. You get payouts of doing certain invasion missions, all sorts of stuff like that in your mail. Not sure what this is. Oh, the Codex. So the Codex kind of gives you a rundown of different weapons and things that you have or that you've used and you've unlocked, and you get stars for it. It kind of shows you the Cronus. It gives you a little video of a spinning video. It's not really a video, I guess it's just a model and it spins around. Shows you kind of the stats of the weapon, which is pretty neat. So pretty much every weapon available in the game, I believe, Wraith Twin Vipers, I believe are in the Codex. So that's a pretty neat little feature. You have your settings, of course, and your HUD display, control, audio. There's quite a bit here that to set and change, so that is cool too. And as you see, you can show quite a few different things. There's something I was curious about, but I suppose it doesn't matter that much. Alright, so we'll get out of that, if I figure out how to. I suppose the escape key will work for me. And then you can log out. Now over here you have your social tabs, your chat, you have your friends, and your clan. As you can see, I'm the only one on in the 4-man clan that I have, which is all I really need, because you can only have 4 players per mission. So that's kind of a rundown of everything. Alright, so this is what you'll see on the primary screen. This is the universe, as it were, and as you'll see over here, you have alerts. Alerts are temporary missions that are only available for a short period of time, so this is for 42 minutes. You can run it one time and you get the reward, which is 10,500 credits, plus whatever else you gain. I do not actually want to do that. I hit the wrong button. I apologize there. We'll hop back out. Alright, and then in Eurasia, 14 minutes, you have this. Now this is a pretty cool mission, as you can receive 3,700 credits, which is nice. But it also has a blueprint for a sword. I already have this. I'm not going to do it, but it is there and available to you. Now the missions the alerts you can do are only available in the places that you've unlocked. What do you mean unlocked? Well, you start in Mercury when you play through, and as you see, all these are gray. That means I have completed all of these missions. I've gone through and done each and every one of them, and now Mercury is totally unlocked to me. Now we'll go to Ceres. I have not quite finished this. As you see, they're all locked. In fact, I actually never been here. I thought I had. I cannot do any of these missions. Apparently, I would have to go to Neptune and finish Larissa in order to get to Ceres, and that will unlock everything. So there's kind of this whole chain of how you can get from place to place. So you start off in... Sorry, this might be a little confusing and disorienting. You start off probably in Terminus, and then you go through, and to get to Venus, you have to beat the boss, Captain Vor, at Tolstoj. Then you move to Venus, and then you play through here, and you can go all these different places. And to get to the next place, you have to go to Linea, and then that will allow you to go to Earth, and so on and so forth. So as you see, there are several different places with several different things going on. Alright, so you have your solar system here, and you can click on the individual places if you want to jump around to it. There's the derelict ships, there's the dojo, and the void, which are not normal places to go. So we'll take a look at the void, and it will show you the keys that you have, and I'll show you where you can find your keys before you go in here. And they have survival missions, capture missions, exterminate, all the missions you can do normally, except I think there's one that you can't. But they're all here in keys, and Tower 1 is the easiest, Tower 2 is harder, Tower 3, I think it goes up to 4, maybe 5, I'm not sure. But that's kind of how the solar system is, how you roam around it. If you take a look and you're at the solar system screen, you can take a look at all your keys. So this is a derelict mission. These are the survival missions, or the void missions. And you have your clan key. So let's go take a look inside our clan dojo. And here we go. You load it up. And once you load it up, anybody that joins will join your hosted thing. So the dojo is shared for all members in your guild. Okay, so here we are. We are inside the guild, and we'll go this way first. Now, one of our guild members actually spent a lot of time and effort building this up. The design's okay. Here's a dueling room, so you and a friend can actually duel with one another. You guys wanted to see who was better. Now, I hope I didn't get myself stuck, because there's actually no one I can duel against. Okay, good. And the other one goes there, and then these little blue circles are... I don't know what these things are considered, but these little blue things, they actually spawn power-ups for your actual abilities and powers. And that's one thing I did not show you in the actual mission I did. I didn't use any of my powers. I will use those in the multiplayer when I'm talking about what's good, what's bad, the game, things I like and don't like. There's an obstacle course here. I'm not going to start it, but it's a long-running obstacle course where you have to go through all sorts of stuff. Helps you learn how to wall run, wall jump, jump on little precise moving platforms over there. I had a slow, very slow, unmaneuverable Warframe last time I tried to do this, and I was unable to actually get through the obstacle course with it, and I haven't actually done it since. It's a pretty cool little feature, and it's something I will definitely go and do. But for everything that you have, you do need power for the different wings, so that would be your reactor core. You can tear down and rebuild, but you have to keep in mind you need to be careful with what you're building, as you can hurt yourself quite badly with building the wrong things in the wrong order. Granted, when you destroy or delete the things that you have built, you can always reclaim those things, which is nice, but again, there is a downside to it, and that being it takes time to build each and every room in your area. So we have a reactor for this wing, and I think it's like a day or 2 days or something to actually build everything once you get the parts. Now this is going to be your oracle. You need this to build your research labs. So we're just going to do a quick run through of this. I might speed this up. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, guys. I might cut some of it out, but I just kind of wanted to give you guys a rundown. Alright, so that's where you start off. There's a trading post in there. You'll actually be able to trade with your allies, which is a pretty cool thing. And at the end of this hallway, we have an elevator. So we will go into the elevator and we will go up to the second floor. That's right, you can have multiple levels in your clan hall, or your base if you will. Now, the guy who designed, who kind of designed our guild hall, he was curious about the different, like, meeting halls. So I think we have a normal one downstairs, or this is the normal one. Then we have the grand hall here. So this kind of hurts us when we want to do something quickly, because we have to spend all this time running across, but you want to check out the grand hall, and there's one even larger than that that you can actually have as your meeting place. So you don't have to be a 4-man guild, you can be a much larger guild. Alright, so here's a... oh, what is this? This must be the Tenno labs. This allows you to unlock a few different Warframes, actually. So the Vault is one that you used to be able to start with. You can unlock the Zephyr, and I had to actually unlock the Banshee researches, which took forever, but That's how I'm building my Banshee right now. And this is going to be the reactor, as you guys have seen several times. And finally, our final lab will be our energy lab. And as you can see, you can build stuff here and research it out. Yeah, it's, again, crafting. It's all about crafting. So you can craft many things in this. So the guild hall is essentially about research. You can meet up, you can trade, you can duel, you can do obstacle courses. There's not a whole lot else to do in this thing, but it's still pretty cool to have. You can totally decorate it and do whatever you want with it, so there's a lot of customizational features with the guild hall. And I guess that's about it, guys. I mean, there's not much left to talk about as you play through. I mean, there's more missions and mission types to do. There's 3 different types of enemies that you fight against. You fight against the Infested, the Corpus, and the Grenier. And none of them like one another. Generally, you'll see infestation breakouts, as you see over here, that you can do missions and get bonus rewards for doing them. But that means you're going to be fighting against the Infested, and you'll be helping either the Corpus or the Grenier when you do so, which is not bad. The infestation is probably the worst thing, as they say, and yes, I did finger quotes, as it's taking over the entire galaxy or something along those lines. However, I find them generally easier to deal with than I find the Grenier or the Corpus. I really don't like battling the Corpus. They have shields and all sorts of horrible things, so the Grenier have some pretty nasty big guys that tear you to shreds as well. So the enemies are quite abundant. They have several different types. They have heavy hitters that are quite a bit more difficult to kill. And yeah, there's a lot to this game, guys. So definitely check it out. But again, we're going to wait for Splooch to log in, and then I'm going to do what I like and what I do not like about the game. So one thing I suppose I can do still, before we do that, I am actually going to purchase myself an additional slot for my Warframe. So I'm going to buy a slot. It costs 20 platinum. I have 20. And it's as simple as that. So there you go. I have an empty slot, which is now available for my Banshee when it is completely done. So that's how you use your platinum. And I guess that's it, guys. So I will see you in just a few seconds with what I like and what I do not like about the game. Okay, so let's hop back in here. I have Splooch now with me in my party. We're going to start up a defense mission so you guys can kind of see how that actually plays out. And while I do this, I will go over the pros, the cons, the things I like, things I don't like about this particular game and its free-to-play model. So, we'll sit here and start the load up, and as you see, there's going to be different loading times. I am waiting for Splooch, and there we are. Now you can skip the cinematic or let it play through at the beginning of any mission. Oh. Let her talk. Alright, so your goal in the defense mission is defend this core thing in the middle right over here to my right, and, well, stop the waves and waves and waves of bad guys coming through. So every 5 levels or so, you'll have a chance to leave or face harder enemies for better rewards. So there you saw, I just used my lightning skill. It's the first skill for the Volt. I am a lightning-based Warframe. And, well, let's get on to what I like and don't like. And you'll see throughout this playthrough, I'll use my skills at random. I might point them out to you. You should be able to see it. It is pretty obvious when you use your abilities on each Warframe, what they do. I'll try to use different weapons so you don't just see me shooting with a bow and arrow constantly. So, things that I do not particularly like. Well, I would say that they need to tweak the drop rates of certain items. You can farm nearly everything you can buy with real money, and I realize it's not supposed to be super easy. However, I have run one mission with a chance for every 5 minutes of my item dropping at least 25 times, and each run was at least 20 minutes. Most of them were over 30. So that's more than 130 chances of the item dropping, and it never dropped once. So, looking at the drop rates on their wiki and their little reference websites, they say that the loot drop rates are all supposed to be equal. And, well, 130 times and it not dropping means they need to tweak something because it did not work. So either I'm the unluckiest person in the world, or they definitely need to tweak them. So, second thing I'm not a huge fan of, or things I don't particularly like, I'm never a big fan of microtransactions dictating the way to play. Now, They do a fairly decent job of allowing you the full breadth of the game without having to purchase anything. However, they do limit your inventory pretty heavily, and of all the things they could have forced on you, that's not really that huge of a deal. I might not be thrilled that I only have 8 weapon slots or so and only 2 Warframes, but this is an exceptionally well done game, and they do need to make money somehow. You can play without having to buy anything and still be viable. Through hard work, you can get whatever you want. Now, my suggestion with that would be, well, it's somewhat simplistic, but it would be to have a flat charge like some of the other free-to-play games do that unlock the unattainable through playing perks, you know? So things that you can't gain through playing, you could unlock them with like a one-time purchase type deal. Now, they do have different packs, and you can purchase those, and you can always buy Platinum from their website once you have an idea of what you should be doing and what you need to upgrade to get the things that you can't earn yourself. With all that being said and done, the only other thing is they're kind of towing the line, having that big stigma of the pay-to-win branding. You can buy quite a bit to give you an edge, but you still have to go through and level up your Warframes and your weapons and everything else. So, it's not 100% pay-to-win, but it's definitely towing the line. And the only other downside to the game that I can find is it's fun, it's action-packed, it's high velocity, high impact, everything else, but the big downside is there's not that much depth. They do have backstory and lore and things of that nature, but it kind of gets to you're just running the same missions over and over and over again, and there's really not much else to it than that. They do add a little bit of story blips here and there, but overall, that's really about all there is. Just little blips. Those are the things I don't like, and now it's time to focus on the things that I do. Now, for the next mission, I've decided that we should probably go over to here to Venus, and we're going to do a boss fight. If I can figure... There we go. So we're going to do the boss fight in Venus. We'll start the timer up, and here we go. So, boss fight time. We're going to skip the cinematics. Splooch is with me. He is alive. Very good, and we'll get started. So, the things that I do like about this game, well, the fact that I can be a cybernetic, gun-toting, acrobatic, sword-wielding space ninja from an ancient race that might be an android? Well, that is one of my lifelong dreams, and I can now finally achieve that dream. Technically, the game is still an open beta, so I like that because that means they're still improving, they don't feel the game is finished, and they're not going to shortchange anything on that front. Now, the gameplay itself is absolutely phenomenal. There's very little lag, it feels very, very fluid in all your movements, and it's very responsive with your controls. So you really feel like you take control of this Tenno, the Warframe, and it's a very, very well done first-person shooter. So the gameplay mechanics and everything about it is really, really top-notch. Now, I'm a really big fan of games that give you a lot of diversity. In weapons, mods, and Warframes, this game has it all. Diversity, diversity, diversity. Could be the name of the game, though Warframe seems to be probably a better choice. Still, you have so many different weapons that you can actually choose from. They all have different playstyles and everything else. The mods you can do lets you completely customize both your Warframes and your weapons, and well, options are always a good thing. Now, the movement and maneuverability in the game kind of goes back to the gameplay mechanics. They are very, very nice, crisp, fluid, a little challenging to learn some of the maybe wall runs and things like that, but it is not overly difficult, and once you get it down, it's almost second nature, I dare say. I also like the fact that you can probably set your mouse sensitivity pretty high. I tend to lower mine from some of the other games that I play because it is really responsive, and it's easy to overshoot things if your mouse sensitivity isn't perfect. But you have a lot of options and customization for that. So again, options are great. I like how the multiplayer for random groups works, as you just set yourself to online mode and people will randomly join the games you're playing, or you can join theirs. I found the few times that I did that I enjoyed it quite a bit. I mean, I didn't say a word to them, we just did our business and went on with it. And there is voice over IP and all that fun stuff that you can actually activate and use. So if you are big into finding random people to play with and you want to talk to them, you can do that and get what you want out of it. If you just want to group up and do your own thing and just have more people in the party, you can do that as well. So the random multiplayer system works very well. The co-op is really well done, it's very nice. You can play with up to 3 friends, plus yourself, which would make the party of 4. And I gotta tell you, that is the most fun I have in the game, when I have a full party and we're able to just go tackle whatever objective we want. If one of your buddies gets a new Warframe or a weapon, he or she can still join your missions and gain some much needed levels on those low-ranked items. They won't do much damage, but you can help them out. Oftentimes in games, getting a new character means that a newbie can't really do anything until they catch up. So the fact that this game allows you to actually still be with your team, with your group of people, is a pretty cool feature, and, well, you can kind of power level them to an extent. The next thing I want to look at is customization. You can change the colors of your Warframe, your equipment, your Sentinel, your weapons, you name it. You can change the color of it, kind of give it a unique look And not just that, but you can also change your Warframes and weapons, and your Sentinel and everything else I mentioned, through the use of mods and change it to match your playstyle. So there is a ton of customization in this game. Now, another thing that I particularly like is the diversity, we're going back to that, diversity of the missions, enemy types, and bosses, as well as the random invasion missions and the alert missions. There's a lot here for you to do. And there's constantly things that just appear at random that, hey, you get really great rewards for, so you have to jump on those when you see them. Now, I have no idea what sort of magical voodoo Splooch just used there to kill that boss, but that boss fight was supposed to be completely different and quite a bit harder, so kudos to you, Splooch, for ruining my boss fight. Now, the next thing I want to bring up is the looting system. It's admittedly fairly confusing at the beginning, but once you figure it out, it's a very nice system, and it's pretty easy to use. One thing that I mentioned before that I like to bring up again is that you can unlock everything, or very nearly everything in the game, just through hard work and farming up the stuff that you need, as opposed to always having to buy everything. And that's something that I like very, very, very much about this game. Now, I mentioned earlier the game is still an open beta, which means quite simply that the devs are still very much involved in the game. They are constantly updating it and, well, adding new stuff all the time. And that is really cool to see, especially in a free-to-play game, that the devs haven't just left you in the dark and said, hey, I put out the game, and there you go. You guys have fun and do whatever it is you want to do. We don't care anymore, so no, it's very nice to see the developers still care about the game and the product that they're putting out. The last of the things I like is the fact that this game is just fun. Flat out fun. So, there you have it, guys. That is going to do it for my review of Warframe. You can check it out at warframe.com or pick it up through Steam. It is free to play, and that'll do it for this installment of the free-to-play Phenoms. That's right, F2PP. So if you guys have any questions about the game or where to find it, I will have it posted in the comments below. And I want to thank you guys for joining me. This has been quite a bit of fun. I got to showcase one of my favorite games that I play, and until next time, my name's Bumpy McSquigums, and I will see you later.